Welcome, everyone. I'm Sandra Bargman. A few years ago, I wrote and performed a solo show called The Edge of Every Day, which was an exploration of the rough edges and contradictions we all face and grapple with. The show hit a nerve, and the relevance of the topic would only grow over time, more than I could have foreseen. So, here we are. Real talk with real people, sharing stories and perspectives that spark provocative invitations to leap out of what's safe, on the edge of every day. Thanks for listening. Hello, everyone. We are live in the hive. Thank you for joining me on this, the 14th episode of The Edge of Every Day, here on talkradio.nyc. We've started this new year recommitted to courageous conversations and recharged to face what awaits in 2022. For those of you who are tuning in for the first time, and for those of you who don't know me yet, I encourage you to check out my bio on talkradio.nyc, or of course you can visit my website, sandrabargman.com, or tune in to any of my previous episodes. In a nutshell, this show is about celebrating triumphs, pushing boundaries, and exploring rough edges. Through conversations and shared stories with friends and colleagues, it's my hope that we can begin to understand our edges. And what I mean by edges is those places where we are fearful, those places where we are resistant to change, those places where paradoxes and contradictions live in our beliefs and our understandings, both about ourselves and in the world around us. Those places where we don't want to look. We live in turbulent times. We are reassessing and reshifting, and we are coming to understand that life isn't black or white. It's an embrace of both. And the more we recognize our own edges and get real about them, the more we can help others to do the same. And that, I fully believe, can help to change the world. So, thanks for tuning in. And without further ado, it's time to introduce our guest this evening. Lauree Ostrofsky is a motivational speaker, author, certified business coach, and communications consultant with clients including IBM, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Fodor's Travel, Liz Claiborne's domestic violence awareness program, Women's Work, Microsoft, and the Girl Scouts of the USA, just a few. Lauree runs her own coaching business, Simply Leap, LLC, and she is the founder of Hudson Valley Women in Business, a community that boasts over 3,000 members and is a welcoming space for seasoned and aspiring business owners and all women and people of gender minorities, inclusive of race, class, and ability, to lean on and learn from one another. She is the author of 2 books. Her memoir, written in 2013, I'm Scared and Doing It Anyway, and Simply Leap, 7 Lessons on Facing Fear and Enjoying the Crap Out of Your Life, which she wrote in 2016, and includes client success stories and helps the reader to forge their own path of reinvention. She is also the founder of the Hug Tour movement. Welcome, Lauree.
Thank you so much, Sandra.
Oh, it's great to see you. Thanks for coming on. I love that, the Hug Tour. I can't wait to dive in on that. But first, I want to share how I met you, because I like to do that. You and I have not met in person, but we have met online. It was probably it was summer of 2020. It was after the pandemic had started. And the shock of the pandemic had worn off for me, the shock of all of my work going poof, my weddings going poof, my theater work going poof. I had rented out my apartment in New York City, which is where I'm beaming in from today, since we had lost power upstate. But I the reality of the situation had finally landed for me by the time I found Hudson Valley Women in Business, and was really unsure about how I was going to be in community, and discovered how was I going to make money when those streams had gone poof, and wanted to network with other people. And boom, I found you on Facebook and joined, and you had this fantastic meet and greet for via Zoom for the new members, and we could all chat with one another and say what we did. So that was glorious. And so my first question to you is in relation to just how warm and welcoming you were. And what jumped out at me I love this part of of doing a podcast, is getting to check in on everything that my guests have done, to dive into research. And I loved that you had this was what you had shared on a couple of places, was author, business coach, and hugger. I loved that. And that was before I knew about your hug project.
Hug tour movement.
Movement. Yeah. Hashtag, baby. And I thought, my goodness, that speaks volumes to me about your warmth and your invitational style. So tell us quickly about what was the movement? When did you create this?
So I was living in Washington, D.C., and had gone through a really difficult breakup, and as one does, felt really lonely in a city that was still fairly new to me, and had a few friends that reached out with care and love, and I wanted to repay that back. And wasn't quite sure. And then as messages arrived to us, I happened to be watching television. It was back when Oprah's network first came out, OWN. And Maya Angelou was being interviewed, and she's like my size on the screen coming back at me. And she said, "You have to give what you have to give." And, when Maya says something, you listen. You do it. You're like, yep, whatever you said, I'm going to do it. And I was like, okay, how can this be easy? I'm like, I can hug people. Why don't I hug people I care about? So I announced on Twitter. I think at the time that was what I was doing then. But I announced on Twitter and Facebook, all right, I'm walking around DC. If I know you, I'm going to stop by your office. It was a Tuesday afternoon. I'm going to stop by your office. I'm going to meet you at a coffee shop. And and people responded. And so what started as something really personal, people really responded to. And what I noticed as a business owner was that even when I had business meetings after that point, people would ask me about hugs first. And so talking about kind of the business ownership side of things, the reason why it's on my email signature and my business cards is because I realized that somehow exactly what you said spoke to who I am as a coach and what I bring even to the rooms where I speak. And so putting that out there was also encouraging people to own, how they care about people.
Yeah. And to share it, and that too is business, that we have this idea of, and of course that makes me think about women doing business differently, which we'll get into later. But yeah, it goes hand in hand. And the glowing testimonials on your website completely tells that story. Your warmth, your help, and your caring way of getting people to their inner truth. It's just one after the other. And we'll get into her business a little bit later. But I want to start with your book now. Your first book, Scared and Doing It Anyway. Love that title. I'm scared and doing it. Go, girl.
Yes, I read it, because one should have that, right? So yes.
Can I get a signed copy?
You bet.
Thank you.
Any of your listeners, I'm happy to share a signed copy. That would be fun.
Thank you. That's terrific. Look, to my point, my hugger point. Love the title. So in this book, you detail Tell us the story of what you detail in that book. A little
sure.
bit of your life leading up to it, this hospital epic moment, and how this changed the course of your life.
Yeah, sure. So I work with A students, and I am an A student. So an A student to me, let me say first, is someone who is pretty comfortable in third grade, where the rules were very specifically laid out and you knew exactly what was required to get a gold star or an A or a pat on the back or whatever you needed. It didn't mean that you necessarily got an A. It means that you enjoyed the structure of and living within that and kind of, rules.
So can relate.
I, as an adult, I have that, tendency. And in my 20s, I was climbing the corporate ladder, making my parents very proud, and doing work. I was working in marketing at the time in the city, in New York City, and kind of unhappy about it, but not quite sure about what to do next. And the day I was actually planning to quit my job, to figure out what's next, I had a doctor's appointment. And luckily, I had the doctor's appointment before I quit my job, because in the doctor's office, I found out that what I thought was an ear infection was actually a brain tumor. So there I am, 28, not at all what I expected my life to be. And like so many of us, who have had moments where the path we thought we were on took a turn we couldn't have imagined, that was my moment. So, and from that moment on, I really reassessed kind of the path that I was on, and what helped me reassess it more was being in the hospital. So I ended up having, it was a benign brain tumor that was the size of a golf ball, behind my right inner ear, and 3 surgeries later, a month in the hospital, and
3 surgeries.
Yeah. And meningitis. So I was also hallucinating at one point with my head swollen. So, I mean, I can laugh now because I'm on the other side of it, but it was, something you never scary. Want to have happen to someone you care about, let alone yourself. And what I realized as I was in the hospital was how important, how I viewed what was possible, how I viewed my own health and my own role from within a hospital bed, a place where we feel our weakest and are least in control. There were a few things I still had control of, and it was in one particular moment that really that I realized how much I could still control my own health and my own healing from within that hospital bed. And it was also a point when I realized all the things I thought I was scared of as an A student, like disappointing people I care about, or failing, or getting something wrong, wasn't as scary as the real life things. And so I'm scared and doing it anyway was really born. And the work that I'm doing now, helping people recognize how much power they have to affect change in their lives. And it's not the minutia, it's the directionality, the intentionality that we bring to things, even in the powerless moments.
Oh my God, yeah. Well, this is like the quintessential, the edge of everyday story, is that, you are faced with something so scary that you have to embrace it and move through it. And then, like the wonderful title of your business, Simply Leap. So what was the process for you coming to terms with connecting the dots of, this scares me to death, I need to make some big changes in my life? Mm-hmm. This, now that, I would hesitate to say, I'm laying in the hospital bed and I realize I have to become a business coach. I'm sure it didn't happen quite like that.
It's not unlike that. So I had already had a coach myself before, a year or so before And I had taken a sabbatical, the first person in my organization to ever ask for one. And I'd had a coach that helped me negotiate that powerfully.
Fabulous.
And so
I'm going to have to interrupt you.
Okay.
My apologies. I just see that we are going, because I don't want you to get too far into the story. We have to go to break.
Okay.
But we will pick it up when we get back with Lauree Ostrofsky on the Edge of Everyday. Stay tuned.
Are you a business owner? Do you want to be a business owner? Do you work with business owners? Hi, I'm Stephen Fry, your small and medium-sized business, or SMB guy, and I'm the host of the new show, Always Friday. While I love to have fun on my show, we take those Friday feelings of freedom and clarity to discuss popular topics on the minds of SMBs today. Please join me and my various special guests on Friday at 11 a.m. on talkradio.nyc.
Are you a conscious co-creator? Are you on a quest to raise your vibration and your consciousness? I'm Sam Leibowitz, your conscious consultant, and on my show, The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, we will touch upon all these topics and more. Listen live at our new time on Thursdays at 12 noon Eastern Time. That's The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, Thursdays, 12 noon on talkradio.nyc.
Are you on edge? Hey, we live in challenging, edgy times, so let's lean in. I'm Sandra Bargman, the host of The Edge of Every Day, which airs each Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on talkradio.nyc. Tune in live with me and my friends and colleagues as we share stories and perspectives about pushing boundaries and exploring our rough edges. That's The Edge of Every Day on Mondays at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on talkradio.nyc.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC. Uplift, educate, empower.
Chipping around, kick my brain to the ground. These are the days it never rained, but it
On the Edge of Every Day with Lauree Ostrofsky. So we're going to pick it back up where you were talking about your coach and...
Yeah, so a year before my tumor, I was actually on a sabbatical, 6-week sabbatical in Europe, and that I had negotiated because no one had ever asked for one before. And I was working with a coach at the time that said, why can't you ask for something that no one has asked for before? And it was an incredible experience. And what she'd said at the time actually was that I might want to consider coaching, that maybe that was something I'd want to think about, put it in the back of my mind, went on with my life. Then this drastic turn happened. And in the hospital, when I was like, there's so much more to life. The things that I was afraid of are so not scary when you face the real scary things, is when I decided that maybe coaching, maybe I'll try that. If I could really help people recognize how much power we're sitting on based on what we think is possible, the words that we use, who we surround ourselves with, like just these simple things, but incredibly foundational things. And I kind of had that sense based on what I was experiencing in my life at that moment. How small my life got in that moment and clarifying, that was when, so within a year of my diagnosis, I was in a coaching program and, launched my business, within, a year after that and, built it from there. So I'm on year, I think 16 of that business.
Wow.
After my surgery.
I love it.
So, yeah.
Well, that's a great way to seg into it. But I did want to, reading that you lost your hearing, you lost your balance, and you lost your hearing. And I thought, gosh, the symbolism of that. Yeah. What am I not listening to? I mean, extraordinary symbolism
Yeah, it was, it's so interesting because it's my right ear, and my right ear was my stronger ear, was the ear that I would lean in and listen, when a friend is talking and you really want to hear what they have to say and you lean in. And it was right after those surgeries when a conversation like that would happen, I'd forget and lean in with that ear again. And it's so interesting, right? Because it forces you, I was kind of forced, my whole body was forced to like, I'm right-handed and everything, like kind of move in the other direction. Like, well, how do you do everything with your, obviously I can use both hands still, but like, kind of reorienting. It was just really interesting. And I've also lost sensation in half my face. So there was another thing that I had to kind of literally face, which is that I looked differently than I did before the surgeries. And it's the kind of thing, I have to say, I don't know if this is an A student thing or maybe, just whatever, something that we face, but it was one of the hardest things, which was the part that you could see, or I felt that other people could see. Because especially at the time, actually, I had, my facial nerve I had a paralysis. And so this whole side wouldn't even like respond. So it was just this, like my eyes would blink separately and my face would smile separately. So it was this, the thing that you can't hide is the thing that you most have to look at and to show and to accept about yourself. The thing that you can't just like, let me figure it out over here. It's like, oh no, people can
and it becomes like your superpower too. I mean,
it took a while. It took a while for it to feel that way. But yeah, as you can imagine.
But it got you connected to the thing, I just had somebody on, a Jungian analyst, got you connected to this shadow side of, I don't want to show this. I don't want to present myself this way. I don't want people to see this. And yet the power of that, the vulnerability of that. And that makes me think of you talking about, you really share often that you're this introvert, which I loved. I love that you just, and people would never expect me to be an introvert, but I am indeed as well. And so this notion of stepping forward through all of that, and that's like a superpower too. Yeah. I'm sure it's that introverted quality that helps you bring so much sensitivity to the work that you do.
Yeah. And I like that you mentioned vulnerability, because that's what it is. It's that for us to feel connected, and actually this connects the community piece that we're going to talk about too. Yeah. For us to feel connected, somebody has to go first. Somebody has to vulnerably put something out there. And you see the memes and the celebrities and the conversations that are most compelling. It is because someone has been willing and brave,
courageous enough to be vulnerable.
To go first. Yeah. Exactly.
David White, the poet David White, who works with business leaders, adore him. I mean, that's his number one thing. You can't have a courageous conversation unless you're willing to be vulnerable. Yeah. Period. But okay,
so I want to.
Right.
Sometimes we're pushed off that edge, but it's okay.
Well, life has a funny way of doing that and pushes you off the edge. That's a perfect seg into Simply Leap. I love that name for your business. I know there's a story around choosing that name. Can you share that with our listeners?
Well, what I want to say about Simply Leap is that I would say the simple part is kind of important. So the leap, most of us think that we need to be ready to leap, that it's like this, and it's big, that it's like, yes, now I'm ready, and most of us aren't ready. Let's just be honest,
right.
Either pushed
kicking and screaming,
or whatever,
dragged.
And that there are subtle elements and steps that lead to most of the leaps that we make. there's a change in mindset. There's a realization. There's like a light bulb that goes off that we can't turn back off. Once you see it, you have to do something about it. There's this acknowledgement of my life isn't the way the way I want it to be. My work isn't fulfilling, and work is too important to me not to have it be fulfilling. There's these realizations that I think are the smaller, subtler steps that lead to the leap. And I also think that there are two main camps of leapers. One are, I'll leap first and I'll figure it out once I get there while I'm freaking out, which is me. Because if I think too much about something, I'm never going to do it. If I've asked more than 3 questions about something, I'm done. Like, it's not going to happen. I might as well move on to something else.
I know.
If I just say yes, I am going to freak out. 100% I will freak out, but at least I'll have already said it out loud. So I'll have to keep going. And I already set the deadline. I already told people when that book was going to come out. I got to do it. So that there's that kind of leap. And then there's I'm going to work my way to it. I'm going to have a plan. And I love those people. Some of those people hire me as their coach, which is great. I can help them build a plan. But if you're leaping and figuring it out, I'm right there with you and can totally, totally help those people too. But I really think that, kind of leaps come in so many different sizes and styles, and that subtlety, that simply part, that those subtle pieces are so important to the leaps that we make.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Well, the person that can't think about it too much, I'm that person too. So dive in. But it also speaks to the A student. If you think about it too much, then the perfectionistic, good girl, good daughter, all that comes sweeping back in and gets in the way. And, enough. No, I'm just going to dive. So walk us through what kind of the clients that come to now. We're going to talk about Hudson Valley Women in business, but you work with obviously anyone who, both men and women. How do you work with your clients? What's a typical client? I mean, everyone's different, of course, but is there sort of an overarching type of person that seeks you out, that you attract, your skill set attracts and draws in?
Sure. I tend to work with women. I have male clients, but I tend to work with women, and the majority of folks are A students, enjoy that structure. Kind of the frustration with being a 3rd grade A student is that adult life does not have that clear-cut path. I don't know the 3 rules I'm supposed to live by, and I'm kind of looking for them everywhere. But it's that kind of thing that, that bonds us. There's a good number of introverts. That isn't a requirement either. But usually what it is that you've reached a point in your career, in your professional life, where you could keep succeeding, but it doesn't mean the same thing that it was before. Most of us are carried along in our careers because we win accolades, praise, what have you, and that kind of carries us whether we like it or not, until we reach a point where it's like, gosh, I could keep doing this. I see the people in front of me, but I don't really feel fulfilled. It's not making the kind of difference I want to. And I don't know what the next thing is, or I don't know how, the next door hasn't opened yet.
The next best step. Yes, indeed. Well, that's a perfect spot for us to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to finish that thought, and we're going to dive into this incredible community that you have created, Hudson Valley Women in Business, when we come back with Lauree Ostrofsky on the Edge of Every Day. Stay tuned, everyone.
Howdy, I am Joseph Franklin McElroy, host of the new podcast, Gateway to the Smokies. It airs on talkradio.nyc every Tuesday night from 6 p.m. to 7. Every episode is dedicated to memorable experiences in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park and surrounding areas. This show features experts and locals who will expound upon the richness of culture, history, and adventure that awaits you in the Smokies. Tune in every Tuesday from 6 p.m. to 7 on talkradio.nyc.
passionate about the conversation around racism? Hi, I'm Reverend Dr. TLC, host of the Dismantle Racism Show, which airs every Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern on talkradio.nyc. Join me and my amazing guests as we discuss ways to uncover, dismantle, and eradicate racism. That's Thursdays at 11 o'clock a.m. on talkradio.nyc.
Are you a small business trying to navigate the COVID-19 related employment laws? Hello, I'm Eric Sauver, employment law business law attorney and host of the new radio show, Employment Law Today. On my show, we'll have guests to discuss the common employment law challenges business owners are facing during these trying times. Tune in on Tuesday evenings from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Time on talkradio.nyc.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC at www.talkradio.nyc. Now broadcasting 24 hours a day.
Chipping around, kick my brain to the ground. These are the days it never rained, but it pours on the edge of every day.
And we are back with Lauree Ostrofsky, simplyleap.com. That is her business website. It's filled with fantastic information about her 2 books, where you can get them, testimonials galore of all of her well-served clients, well-served and happy clients. So is there any bow you want to put on the clientele that you're working with before we dive into Hudson Valley Women in Business?
I guess just what I was saying before about how most of the folks I work with are professionals who are already successful in their careers. Right. And so this is a matter of whether it's in the corporate world or owning their own business already, that they're already good, but something is missing. And it's like, if I had figured it out, I'd be doing it already. That's the A student piece. Like when they figure it out, they just go, right? Like the leaping part, we just go. But like, if you can't figure it out, what do you do? And I think that being a new place.
It can be right here, but you don't quite have the courage to see it. And you need a separate set of eyes, ears, hands.
Someone you trust to talk to, right? Beyond just friends and family who support us and believe in us. And actually that is a segue into the community that I built, because most of us as business owners feel really lonely. It can feel really lonely as an owner, because even though you have supportive family and friends, hopefully, who believe in you, they're like, we believe in you doing that thing over there that I don't really understand. Unless you're another business owner, you don't really understand that kind of pressure that can be on you to be like, all of my income, my revenue is based on me, based on the effort and the ideas and the people I surround myself with and the opportunities that I find. And so, that kind of loneliness really breeds that need, that what you're talking about earlier about the connection that we need to know we're not the only ones who are going through this or feel this way. As a collective, as a world, we felt that in the last 2 years as business owners. I mean, especially in the last 2 years, but in general, that business ownership is an exciting and yet lonely prospect.
Absolutely, completely agree. And the sense of shouldering everything that it's all up to you and everything that you generate. It can be daunting. Were you somebody that always was easily built community?
I was really shy, besides just being introverted. I was a pretty shy person. I barely spoke in class, like growing up or anything. So it's hysterical that I'm a speaker now and that I am in the front of the room at networking events. Like the thing I hate the most, networking events, like talking to
can't hate it anymore. You're so good at it.
Leading. Right? Like it's just really funny how life works that way. But yeah, I guess I always had a couple close friends, but yeah, it was like I said, pretty shy. I think what helped honestly is brain tumor. Scary thing about meeting people, so not scary when you have something, whether it's medical or otherwise, that is bigger. It's like, all right, I'll get over the discomfort of meeting new people or talking to strangers and figuring out what to say. But I think the other thing is finding something that you believe in so much that you're willing to talk about it all the time. And that's what I ended up finding. So yeah. That I found that first why I became a speaker is because I realized that what I learned from my brain tumor was too important not to share with other people. And so that propelled me to go on stage, to speak in front of groups, to write the book. And then what I found around how women do business differently and how, kind of the lonely part of business that is unspoken, and that somebody has to go first and vulnerably first, everything we just talked about. And to say that, and then create community that people feel connected when someone says, gosh, isn't this lonely? It is for you too. Okay, let's figure it out together. So that compelled me to talk about it, which created community from that. I didn't go in looking to create a community. I created a community by talking about something that I believed so much in. Yes. I could get over myself to talk about it.
That's so cool. Well, you say women do. So when did you start this? I know you
just
got
had our
together
7th anniversary. Yeah. So we just had our 7th anniversary.
I did see that. Community. Congratulations. Happy anniversary. So you got together with friends, and then they started bringing friends, and it started growing, and you got a website and the whole 9 yards. Your women do business differently. Let's talk about the pros and the cons of that. I mean, I completely relate to that, the women's strengths, but speak to our listeners about what you found. Why do women do business differently?
Sure. I think that women in general are natural collaborators over competitors. I think we want to work together and are seeking that out. I think that also, and I would say, this can relate to men as well. This isn't only these folks. But I would say women in general value and build communities. You're going to see groups of women more than groups of men, because women naturally gravitate towards and desire community-focused activities. And whether community meaning in the space where they live or in their friend groups or colleague groups. I also think that women are natural cheerleaders for one another. I think it's very much in our culture now. Thankfully, that notion of tearing women down. I think we're moving beyond it. Yeah, well, yeah, I hope so, and I feel very strongly about it. And actually, our community is really founded on that idea of how powerful it is when we work together. That there is plenty of work for everybody if we're working together to improve all of our pricing, to improve our confidence, to talk about sales skills and marketing knowledge, and share the best accountant or designer that we've worked with. The more I'm succeeding and sharing that knowledge, the more you'll succeed too. That there's an opportunity for all of us. And I think that I would say also about the cheerleading piece that sometimes it can feel safer or less vulnerable to cheer on somebody else, or refer somebody else's business, like, oh my God, you should totally buy from them. They're awesome. And it feels sometimes a little like, am I supposed to be humble or am I good enough to kind of promote myself? And so kind of through cheerleading for one another and referring business to one another, it builds everybody's confidence and skill at communication. So I think that some of those qualities are naturally in many women, and I think that contributes to how we do business differently.
Yeah, the nuances of that is so beautiful. So in addition, and I want to talk about your online community, the engagement and the cheering each other on, the cheerleading is on full display on Facebook. It is so fabulous how you manage. So you have a Facebook group on Hudson Valley Women in Business, and it's for members only, and the interactive quality of it. I've never witnessed a Facebook group that is so engaging, so full of upliftment, and women, as you said, referring each other. So, and lifting each other and sharing who they're purchasing from and helping each other find referrals.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, say that again?
And buying from each other.
And buying from each other.
You are making more money the more active you are in that community. And I think that that's an amazing thing.
So how do you manage that? I mean, how did that come to be?
How did the engagement come to be?
Yeah. How did you begin to want to manage that online community? You know, each day you ask great questions. Yeah. But how did that come about?
Yeah, so I can answer that in a couple different ways. I would say logistically, it really grew organically. That, it started with a couple of us having a drink and over time developed into something. And then I realized, we should have a way to keep in touch with each other when we're not meeting in person once a month, which is what this group originally started as. We would meet once a month as women business owners, women at any stage of business ownership. But unlike a chamber, you had to be involved as a business owner because that conversation is just so different.
So specific. I actually was meaning about the Facebook group, but I'm glad that you're circling back on this.
And I would say that the thing that actually makes our Facebook group different, unique, is that from the beginning, I've never said group. I have always called it a community. And when you call something a community, our words are powerful. When you call something a community and you invite someone into a community, you feel ownership. If you are a community member, you feel ownership in that community. When you welcome someone, like, hey, friend, join our community, you feel very different about it. And I would say that has a really, really big difference. I always call it the Facebook community or online community because it is about consciously creating connection with one another, leaning on and learning from each other. And that is communicated ongoing in the words that we use and also is reflected back by the members.
It's so spectacular. As we move into break, the point, we touched on it a few times in this conversation, is the overwhelming feeling, thanks to COVID, and the isolation of that people are absolutely as connected to a desire for community as ever. I have witnessed it in all of my friends. I struggle to create community because I'm such a loner and I'm such an edge walker on other communities that I don't get involved. And this group is so inspiring. So we're going to go to break, and I'm going to ask you when we come back about what advice you have for people in terms of how they can be better at building community, and we'll get into some of the things that you're looking to create in the future for our last segment on the Edge of Every Day with Lauree Ostrofsky. Stay tuned.
Join us every Tuesday at 4 p.m. Eastern for the Mind Behind Leadership, where we focus on what leadership really means to us and to others. We have practical discussions with the CEOs of some of the world's largest companies, owners of small businesses, and experts in psychology and behavior to get that inside track, what to do, what to avoid, and what really happens. Join me, Graham Dobbin, at the new time, 4 p.m. every Tuesday for the Mind Behind Leadership, here live on talkradio.nyc.
Hey everybody, it's Tommy D, the nonprofit sector connector, coming at you from my attic. Each week here on talkradio.nyc, I host the program Philanthropy in Focus. Nonprofits impact us each and every day, and it's my focus to help them amplify their message and tell their story. Listen each week at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time until 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on talkradio.nyc.
Calling all pet lovers.
Pet Avengers, assemble!
On the Professionals and Animal Lovers show, we believe the bond between animal lovers is incredibly strong. It mirrors that bond between pets and their owners. Through this program, we come together to learn, educate, and advocate.
Join us live every Wednesday at 2 p.m. at talkradio.nyc.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC at www.talkradio.nyc. Now broadcasting 24 hours a day.
Chipping around, kick my brain to the ground. These are the days it never rained, but it pours on the edge of every day.
And we are back with Lauree Ostrofsky. So, what advice or what tips or what can you share with people who are looking to join communities, build communities, even entrepreneurship? What advice what giveaways can you give to our listeners right now?
Yeah, I think it's about, for me anyway, it is less about the community itself and more about finding something you feel passionately about. And what we said earlier several times about sharing things vulnerably. Community is really founded based on a strong belief and passion that you're willing to stand behind and stand with for a while, and communicating that out in the world. I went searching for community when I moved back to the Hudson Valley from Washington, D.C. and worked from home. And when you work from home, it's, you don't know anybody else. You have to create your own colleagues like you would in an office. I went looking for something, and that I solved my own problem is actually a pretty often, normal way for folks to create businesses. Often we solve our own problem by, the product that we've designed or the service that we've built. And that was really what was true for me. So I would say for folks who are interested in building community, I would look at the things that you're most wanting to bring into your life or that you feel really strongly about and build from there. Find the other folks who feel that way too, and see where the conversation takes you. I didn't know our community would look this way until I listened to the folks that were coming to events that and what was on their minds. That's how we come up with topics every month. It's what's happening in our community, what's happening around the people who are important to me, who are interested in these things, and naming that. I actually think it's really important to name things, to name the fact that this is a community, to name the issue or name the vulnerability, to go first. Community gets built to me around that.
Oh, that is just delicious. Absolutely delicious. So it's Hudson Valley Women, HudsonValleyWomenInBusiness.com is the website. And again, Lauree's, her website is simplyleap.com. So there's 3 levels that you can be involved in community for those people who are listening in from the Hudson Valley region that want to be a part of this, thinking of this in terms of specifically getting involved rather than just a conversation around creating community. Yeah. There's 3 ways that you can be involved. And they do online events, in-person events, coffee gatherings with members. I'm not in this new space. It's setup is a little different. How has COVID shown you where this community, what has COVID, or even what's going on politically in our very divided times, what has that shown you about how to maintain community? What have you learned about that with some of the difficulties of COVID and potentially the difficulties politically and polarizations that we're going through?
Yeah. That at the core, there are things that we have in common, and to start there.
Of course.
All the things that we've talked about, vulnerability, desire for connection, that collaboration will breed success. Those are core beliefs, and gathering around our core beliefs is the only way to move forward, as far as I can tell. Yeah. And I think how we're seeing, what organizations and what countries are navigating this the best is likely some of those same core beliefs and values.
Completely.
So I'm doubling down on those personally, emotionally, spiritually, and
we have to.
I think in our community as well. I am communicating those as much as I can. And when COVID originally, began, I was in our community every week, going live, which is a comfort zone for me, but I felt like people need to hear a voice and needed to hear that they were not alone and in it with others, that we're in it together. We talk about that all the time, that we're in it together. And so I wanted to say something about that as well, that we realized that as a community, that we could be online. We actually didn't know we could be online. We were mostly doing in-person events. We had never been on Zoom before. Like many organizations, we learned that we're actually really powerful on Zoom. So because the Hudson Valley, and we have folks from New York City as well, it's so big. Yes. That we have kind of 3-hour differences between where folks are located. But on Zoom, you can be in the same room with folks you'd never normally meet in person. So we're actually now doing hybrid. We're going back to some in person, but we're keeping Zoom. And we have Farther Friends, which is a new level of our community for folks who are based in New York, in the city, with maybe second places, or once in a while they're coming up to the Hudson Valley. Absolutely. That is another membership level for us. And I'm actually talking to folks in other cities, in fact, who are looking to create similar communities, maybe of women business owners or another, kind of group that they're looking to create, mostly women business owners, or who I get called by, and to consult on creating those kind of communities in their other places, because we need them. And shockingly, they don't really exist. They exist online, but in person and regionally based is still a fairly new concept. And I love having conversations about that.
Fabulous. Groundbreaking. Absolutely. Again, the website is HudsonValleyWomeninBusiness.com. And I'm sure that in your second book, Simply Leap,
here it is.
Again,
this is my own copy. So it actually, when I give readings, it's already marked for where, what segments I read from.
I love it. Well, and that tells the story of, the clients that you've worked with, success stories, and how you like to navigate your work in that category. So again, it's simplyleap.com. You can find both of those books there, where to purchase them. So what's next for you? We have 3 minutes left. What is next? What's your leading edge, Lauree? What's coming up for you individually? I wrote another book. It's not out yet, but it's about this topic. It's about how women do business differently. And in particular, kind of 3 areas that I think we need to look at the most in order to succeed. And that's mindset, money, and marketing. So how we think about ourselves and the business or the career that we're building, how we think about treat money and treat ourselves around money is a really big one. How we manage it and pay attention to it or avoid it. And then marketing is about putting yourself out there. And that is vulnerable and and pesky, because we have to do it. Really uncomfortable. To succeed.
So I'm toying with how to release that, like whether I release it in parts or as a program or as a full book. So that's kind of on my mind right now and in this year, and getting some feedback on those parts.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to give your website, Simply Leap, and Hudson Valley Women in Business.com, my website, sandrabargman.com, and you can also find me at talkradio.nyc for the replay of this wonderful conversation and all of our past episodes. Lauree, I'm going to let you, we've got 1 minute left, let you give any last statements to our audience.
Yeah. So I want you to know that no matter what is happening in your life right now or in the world, that you still are holding on to a lot of power. And that power is not what you perhaps think it is, but it is in the words that you tell yourself, the things that you tell yourself, the words that you say out loud to other people, the people that you surround yourself with, and the words that they reflect back to you, and ultimately the decisions that you make based on those beliefs and based on those words. That has incredible power around what happens next in your life, in your business, in your career, and in our world. So I encourage you to take control of those things that you really do have power of.
Amen. Beautifully stated. Thank you, Lauree. And thank you so much for spending this hour with me.
Oh, it's such a pleasure. Thank you, Sandra.
Complete and utter pleasure. And for those of you listening in, also, thank you for spending this hour with us. Remember, we are always at the edge of the miraculous. Until next week, take good care.
This is our last dance. This is our last dance. This is ourselves under pressure. Under pressure. Under pressure.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC. Uplift, educate, empower.
Are you a business owner? Do you want to be a business owner? Do you work with business owners? Hi, I'm Stephen Fry, your small and medium-sized business or SMB guy, and I'm the host of the new show, Always Friday. While I love to have fun on my show, we take those Friday feelings of freedom and clarity to discuss popular topics on the minds of SMBs today. Please join me and my various special guests on Friday at 11 a.m. on talkradio.nyc.
How are
Are you on edge? Hey, we live in challenging, edgy times, so let's lean in. I'm Sandra Bargman, the host of The Edge of Every Day, which airs each Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on talkradio.nyc. Tune in live with me and my friends and colleagues as we share stories and perspectives about pushing boundaries and exploring our rough edges. That's The Edge of Every Day on Mondays at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on talkradio.nyc.
Do you feel uninformed about menopause and how it impacts on your life? Hi, I'm Pat Duckworth, women's health strategist and host of the Hot Women Rock radio show, empowering women leaders at menopause. Join me every Thursday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, 3 p.m. UK time on talkradio.nyc for interviews with inspirational women who will share their top tips to rock your world.
In a post-COVID world, you may have many unanswered questions regarding your health. Are you looking to live a healthier lifestyle? Do you have a desire to learn more about mental health and enhance your quality of life? Or do you just want to participate in self-understanding and awareness? I'm Frank R. Harrison, host of Frank About Health, and each Thursday, I will tackle these questions and work to enlighten you. Tune in every Thursday at 5 p.m. on talkradio.nyc, and I will be Frank About Health to advocate for all of us.
I am Joseph Franklin McElroy, host of the new podcast, Gateway to the Smokies. It airs on talkradio.nyc every Tuesday night from 6 p.m. to 7. Every episode is dedicated to memorable experiences in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park and surrounding areas. This show features experts and locals who will expound upon the richness of culture, history, and adventure that awaits you in the Smokies. Tune in every Tuesday from 6 p.m. to 7 on talkradio.nyc.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC. Uplift, educate, empower.